Welcome, friends, to the PW Fan. The PW Fan is a podcast created by fans for fans, and we appreciate you listening. I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcasts and Steelers fans. We are crushing, by the way, or we did just crush last week with our third string quarterback. I
One week at a time.
Yeah. I am Booker Andy.
And I'm also your host, the no-selling wrestling indie fan and football lover, Jeremy.
One day, guys, listeners, guys and gals, we will have all three of us on here. Tim has stuff to do tonight, so Jeremy is back in the saddle with us.
Yeah.
But,
and now Tim's gone.
Staple that keeps coming back every week, apparently. So could say I'm the glue.
You are.
So Tim should be back next week, but this week we will be covering more of the Continental Classic on AEW as it continues. I think this might be the last week coming up. We're going to talk about AJ Styles a little bit. He has a new gimmick. Seems to have gone heel. Wearing all black. We're going to be talking about World's End predictions. We're not sure if the card is completely finished yet, but I got 7 matches that we can do some predictions for. Yeah. And more. Before we get started, please follow us on all social media at the PW Fan. I believe that is our URL on all social media.
I'll just insert Tim's usual thing right here.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Instagram is the PW Fan, TikTok's the PW Fan, X the PW Fan, so on and so on. So, Jeremy, anything to talk about before we get into the shows this week?
Well, I guess the only thing, since we're recording on Tuesday, the day after Christmas,
26th, right?
Yeah, 26th, yeah. Would be the Madison Square Garden show that WWE is running. It's a WWE live event, so it's not televised or anything.
We're doing the holiday tour.
Yeah, holiday tour, but it is Punk's first match, technically, back in WWE. And it's against, who is it?
Dominic Mysterio. I mean, that for the people in the audience, that'll be fun.
That's gonna be I'm sure they're gonna have a lot of fun. I'm sure like Punk probably enjoys that being a non-televised, so he can do like whatever he really wants for his first match actually back.
So if you are on Instagram, I sent this video to Jeremy, but WWE posted like Punk walking down the ramp at Madison Square Garden. So you didn't think he'd be back here to wrestle. I guess he never made it to AEW to wrestle there, like during his time there. They never did.
They didn't do MSG. They did Long Island, and they also did that.
I know they did the arenas around it, but I thought maybe.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I think like WWE has a deal with Madison Square Garden where like no other wrestling company can do it.
But didn't ROH do something or NJPW do something a few years ago?
That was the thing. That was a controversy like years ago. They were trying to do something and they did book it, but then WWE stepped in and was like, "Hey, we had a deal with MSG."
Strong. They basically like blackmailed. Like, we'll never do another event here. God.
Yeah, so
that was definitely. I'm pretty sure that was Vince's era of WWE too.
Yeah, but Vince was like, "Hey, I'm gonna sue you guys."
Hey, pal. Yeah, it's basically kind of an exclusive contract.
Yeah. Which I mean, it's not like bad because they do they sold it out tonight, obviously.
Yeah,
which I always think
sold a lot of extra tickets ever since Punk got announced for it.
Yeah, I think it's like over 15,000, or it is 15,000.
That'd be like the one live event, like house show that I would like go to. I've never been to a house show. I've never wanted to go to a house show.
Yeah, apparently people say they're a lot more fun than like if you go to a taping of Raw or Smackdown.
Things seem to happen at the Madison Square Garden ones too. There's always sometimes there's been a title change. Like I remember when AJ beat Jinder. I don't know if AJ beat Jinder at Madison Square Garden, but he beat him at a house show, and then AJ ended up facing Brock at Survivor Series.
Yeah, because then we were like, happy about that because Jinder didn't have to face Brock.
Yeah. So maybe they thought AJ would be better, or they were just over Jinder.
I'm sure there's gonna be lots of clips on Twitter and Instagram and everything about, especially Punk's entrance and his match and all that.
Yes. So before we get in, I will say next week. We will be covering, I want to say solely AEW, because Raw this week and Smackdown this week, because Triple H is a good boss and actually gives his superstars off around Christmas time, except for now the holiday. But
yeah, I was gonna say.
they're doing the holiday tour. Like the SmackDown we're going to talk about, that was pre-taped. So next week we'll just be talking about the AEW shows and the World's End pay-per-view, which is on Saturday. So that'll be the big bulk of it all. So that being said, let's get started. All right, Raw this past week. Yeah, I was in Florida, but I did end up watching the shows. So Raw opened up with the Judgment Day coming to the ring, full group. And R-Truth would soon join them, and thinking he was part of the group. Truth said that everyone. What was that?
I'm so glad they brought him back.
Oh my god, it's working what they're doing with the Judgment Day stuff. It's funny.
Yeah.
He said Truth said that everyone Judgment Day is looking for a fight, and he needed someone to beat up. So JD McDonough stepped in. They joked a little back and forth. I think Truth ended up saying something like, we need to get rid of a member, and he's like, JD, it's you. He's like, nobody likes you, dude. He's like, I'm sorry, nobody likes you. So this led to the match that would be the first match on the show, and it being around Christmas time, they did the Miracle on 34th Street fight, and the stipulation was supposed to be if R-Truth won, he would be in Judgment Day, and JD would be out. Well, R-Truth did win, but that stipulation didn't end up sticking. Then we had a segment a little later on with Becky Lynch and Nia Jax, I believe. It was more of just a promo segment, if I'm not mistaken, but they seem to be pushing forward. It was quick, but they seem to be pushing forward with this rivalry. I know that Royal Rumble is until January 24th, so they kind of are having, how like AEW does Winter's Coming, so Raw's going to have a day one Raw instead of the day one pay-per-view, and then SmackDown will have New Year's Revolution.
Yeah, like
so those are going to be their
or just better shows, really.
So I assume, and I think they announced it, but Becky and Nia will be at day one.
Yeah, what do you think about Nia Jax being back? Like, because I know, like last time she was there.
Don't give a shit. Never gave a shit before.
Me neither.
Don't care. Don't care.
I don't like how Becky Lynch is involved in this. I don't want her to get hurt.
It's just maybe they're like, all right, it's about time we finally do a story with them after the nose punch and.
Yeah, right. Years ago.
If we don't do a pay-per-view, we're just gonna do day one.
Yeah.
So it seems that's where they're going. Then we had the Gunther defeating Miz, and I believe the stipulation was if Miz lost, he can never challenge for the Intercontinental title again while Gunther is the champ. Match was good. There was, the fans, Miz, hit him with the skull-crushing finale at one point and fooled the fans, at least in attendance. They almost made it seem like they wanted Miz to win. But Miz has been looking good against Gunther the past couple of times, and this was another solid match from him. But Gunther did win, so Miz can no longer challenge Gunther while he's the champion.
Yeah, I think those two work really well together with their matches that they had. But I think it's. Sorry, I was going to say the important thing is while Gunther is champion, not like how I remember Cody did it in AEW where he's like, I can never challenge for the title again. I'm like,
dude, he dug himself into a hole,
Yeah, that was like year one of AEW.
Yeah, within the full year, I don't even think had like gone by.
Yeah. No, it didn't.
Like half a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a dumb thing to do. Yeah. Maybe it made sense to him at the time, but looking back, he was like, no.
Yeah.
I believe the week before, Miz or DIY had to find a partner to team up against Imperium, and they found Miz, and then this match led off of that. Because we did not cover it last week. Shinsuke Nakamura was doing like a backstage video promo, but it was like live instead of like his pre-taped ones. And Cody would end up attacking him, if I remember this correctly.
Yeah.
And Shinsuke was tried to read like a twisted version of A Christmas Tale to Cody during backstage, but Cody found him and attacked him, and they brawled around the arena. Again, I think these two are culminating to the day one thing.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
most
so.
of the
Yeah.
storylines are culminating to day one on
Yeah.
Raw.
That's why Nakamura doesn't do his live backstage vignettes. He has to be like wherever he is because he
Oh,
gets attacked.
yeah, it's true. He does have a history of that. We did see a title change though. This would have been
Yeah.
should have been done on day one if you're going to change the titles, but
Yeah, I didn't get that, but
new women's tag team champions Kaden Carter and Katana Chance defeated Piper Niven and Chelsea Green for the title. I remember when they got called up, they had a great debut match, and it seems like the writers haven't known what to do with them.
yeah.
They've been a team for so long; they're not just like a put together team. They were a team in the NXT, and hopefully, you never know, but I hope for their sake that, I mean, even with Triple H, he's booked the women's tag team titles better than Vince did, but it's still not all
Yeah,
that great.
I thought this was kind of like, I don't know, all of a sudden sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like you said, it should have
it
been on
seemed
like day
random.
one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely seemed random. I did not think they were going to be winning, but I think Chelsea Green, if you remember, won the titles with Sonya Deville, and then Sonya
Yeah.
Deville got hurt, and then it was like the whole Piper Niven, not Piper Niven, and then I think they didn't know what to do at first, and then they were just like, they literally
Yeah.
like, let's just keep it on them until we figure something out.
Which is funny because I think that like made me think of also an AEW with MJF and Adam Cole being the tag champs, and then Adam Cole getting hurt. And now it's basically like Samoa Joe and MJF. Like, I guess they just put people, they just replace a person for the tag titles.
Is Adam Cole? Do you consider him injury prone now? I feel like
Yeah,
his third, no,
I
second,
know.
right?
Is well, yeah, second because the one at Forbidden Door, right?
It was the
The bad
concussion.
neck, yeah, the concussion one, and I think it was the
The
neck, wasn't it?
concussion. No, it was concussion. I remember
Okay,
because then they had
and it
that
took him forever.
AEW backstage show, which I actually enjoyed.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he was
me
going
too.
to the concussion doctor.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, he could be. If he comes back, like, because I
this
know
is
that,
from the
like,
dumb injury of jumping off the ramp.
yeah, that one, it's almost like a freak injury, basically. That one, I don't know if I can count
It's
it
like
as
when
like,
Punk jumped into the stands.
yeah, it's like, how about everyone stops jumping to
And
something?
Cody had a freak injury too of just lifting. It wasn't even like he wasn't in the ring.
Yeah, that was his pec, right? That
Yeah,
one. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's crazy.
Just like it just
Yeah,
stops you
so
from doing dumb stuff again. Like when Punk came
yeah,
back, he's like, He's like, I'm not.
he's like, I'm not jumping
He's like,
in.
I'm not jumping in.
But yeah, if Adam Cole comes back and then he gets hurt again, like another month or two later, then yeah, I would say that. But I don't know. I think this one is more just like a freak injury.
Yeah. Um. See, sometimes when I'm going through these shows, I'm like trying to remember, especially Raw, because it was like the first. So by the time we get to here, I'm trying to remember.
Especially
So
this week because it's like it's a whole week after.
yeah, there was a lot going on. Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre had an in-ring segment to hype up another title match between these two. It's going to be on day one. Drew's not going to win.
No,
That's my prediction.
he's definitely not gonna win because it's gonna be Punk and Rollins.
But during this segment, it all seemed good. There was some tension, but it seemed like they were going to leave each other alone. And then I forget who started attacking who first. I think Drew, knowing them, it was probably Drew. But Drew would end up being, the one on top in the end and walking away after attacking Seth. Now, is day one this Monday? Is it week from? Is like when they come back from these best ofs?
Yeah, because it's January 1st then, so it would make sense.
Oh yeah, okay.
So you wouldn't do day one like the following week.
New Year's Revolution before,
Yeah,
or
yes.
farther away from actual New Year's.
Yeah.
And then, so I think 2 weeks ago, the Creed brothers won a number one contenders match against multiple teams. So the main event of Raw were the Creed brothers cashing in on that opportunity against the Judgment Day, and the Judgment Day would end up retaining. But speaking of Judgment Day and the Creed brothers, who are paired with Ivy Nile is going to be challenging Rhea for her title, and I think that's at day one as well. So it's gonna be a packed show with some big matches.
I don't really know how I feel about the Creed brothers though. They feel kind of bland to me.
Yeah, I mean, I watched them in NXT, and at first I was like, but they grew on me, and they grew on people in NXT. Now, I only bring this up because on TikTok, I don't stuff like this. I never like fully believe, but so it says Royal Rumble 2024 leaked card, true or fake?
Oh, okay, one of those.
And what do they got? So for the Women's Rumble, they got Bayley winning it. I say Becky Lynch is winning it to face Rhea, but
yeah, Bayley doesn't need it though.
And then they said runner up. They always put a runner up. Runner up is Sasha Banks, coming at number.
They think she's returning.
Coming at number 30. They have Jade Cargill in it. They had Deonna Purrazzo in it too.
Oh.
The men's, they have the only one that's not on the roster. Well, they have one NXT, and that's Carmelo Hayes. Then they had X-Pac coming in, who he can still go, I think.
He can. I think so too. Yeah.
And then they have the winner, CM Punk, and the runner-up Cody Rhodes, which is definitely a possibility, or the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
it'll be interesting. I'd like the video just to, see how accurate it is when the actual time comes.
I know we'll talk about it more like as we obviously get closer to Rumble, but like I think I don't know if Punk needs the Rumble win, but I know like that's like a thing that a milestone he wants to reach.
Well, the question I guess becomes for the writers is it easier to tell the story how CM Punk challenges Seth for the title, or is it easier to tell the story for how Cody challenges for the title? Whoever's easiest doesn't win. Cody won last year too.
And Cody's on Raw right now, so I don't know how he would
have to find a way to get him to.
Yeah.
Winning the Rumble would be that.
Yeah, then he'd just show up there and be like, "I pick you."
And an easy thing could be, say, Rollins costs Punk.
Yeah.
Like how Logan Paul did to Rollins.
Right, yeah.
Just a thought, Booker Andy.
I like it, though.
Note it.
That's easy. Clip it.
But that wraps up Raw. Have you been watching AEW this week? I mean, I think the shows are... Look, I think the shows are better when this Continental Classic is not going on just like... But some people like all the wrestling. That's fine. Yeah. But...
I'm like in between it because there's some weeks where I really enjoy it. Like this past week,
some of the matches are really good, and the others I'm just like...
Yeah. Like when it gets to like I think what's it, Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal, I fast forward that one because it didn't matter at all. But yeah,
there's ones I'm excited for. Like there's a triple threat coming up with Swerve, Moxley, and
I mean the finals for each of the
Jay White.
Yeah, the colors or whatever you call them are going to be really good, and the final like matters because there's a title at stake. So I think at the end it gets really intense, but I think the group stage almost kind of like is.
And the winners of each are going to have a match at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, so, World's End, yeah.
So we'll be talking about that. So let's get into Dynamite. Started with a Continental Classic match. Swerve Strickland defeating Roosh. Both members are part of the Gold League.
Swerve is. I know I haven't.
Dude, Swerve is. I'm loving Swerve.
Whew. He
over even more, like the doubters, like after the Hangman. I think he won people over more. I know he won Tim over.
I know Tim. Remember when Swerve first debuted, and he was like, "Whose house?" And Tim's like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah, Tim did not like him for a while.
Yeah.
But then I guess he started to see like, and I really didn't like I knew he was Isaiah Swerve Scott in NXT. And then I just felt like for a while he was just like when they first made the Mogul Embassy and he had those two big guys and the guy with all the things, I was like, what are they doing with him? But now it's like it's worked out better with Prince Nana and
him and Prince Nana mainly.
Even Brian Cage, I guess, and
I mean they do that thing because he's technically still a heel, so he does those things of like bringing the whole people to the ring and everything. But
then the stuff with Keith Lee, I was like, this should be better than it is.
Yeah, I think once this tournament's over, him and Keith Lee will have their match. I think finally have their match because I don't think they ever finished that storyline. So that's kind of why. But
yeah, so we'll talk about that.
oh yeah, that's like later. Yeah,
Fans are really liking Roosh lately too,
I know. That
and his
kind of
brother
came out of
Dragon
nowhere.
Lee.
Yeah, that's kind of
Fans are
crazy.
liking his brother over in WWE.
Yeah.
So after that opening match, we had well, I guess we should talk about this. So
Oh yeah.
Kenny Omega has been dealing with diverticulitis, and I guess he was trying to, be strong about it for as long as he could, and he finally couldn't anymore. And apparently, like he came like close to dying from it
Yeah, they said like
because
50
he
50.
he waited so long to do something about it. Because
Yeah.
normally it's like really curable. From what I looked it up,
Yeah.
and
That's what you remember like
if it's
Brock had that.
when he was in UFC,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
yeah,
why he had to like take a like almost a whole year or two off.
yeah. But Kenny, I think it just happened to be worse because he just kept working with it, and
Yeah. You
he
kind of
had it
think
during the Ethan Page match, and
it's crazy that he wrestled through that and did all like that he was able to cut a promo and everything
yeah.
going through that.
Um, so that being said, we had a backstage segment with Chris Jericho, sending get well wishes to his Golden Jets partner Kenny Omega. And someone came up, and I can't remember who started
Yeah, it
talking
was
shit.
Ricky Starks and Big Bill.
Big Bill, and they were being real
They were
assholes.
like something about he doesn't have the guts for it, and I was like, oh boy.
Ricky's like, "You've been sitting on the one." He's like, "I've been waiting." Yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe at the pay-per-view though, Jericho's supposed to find a partner.
Yeah, they didn't make it exactly clear that he would be at the like.
I'm saying Dolph. I'm going with Nick Nemeth.
I think so. I think it has
Yeah.
to be. I don't know. Like, who else would it be?
Dolph can compete now. So
Yeah, because I can't think of like anyone else like that makes sense really.
speaking of ex-WWE wrestlers, you see that Matt Riddle's back in MLW.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of. And then this is different, but Top Dollar is in GCW.
Yeah, he showed up and attacked Joey Janela.
Yeah.
The most random. Like, if I was a fan at the GCW show, I'd be like, who is that? I'd be like, Top Dollar, Flop
Yeah,
Dollar.
I
What?
know. I think most people were kind of like, "What the fuck?"
I heard some cheers, but I was just like, I'd be like, this is
It
the most
wasn't like
random.
loud. It was just like, "All right."
Oh, that's someone we know from TV is
Yeah.
here, but
You know, he did say that flop went over the rope, like saved his life or something. Have you
why?
seen
Because
it
he's
too?
like, I'm just not going to do that anymore.
Yeah, because he's like, I
Leave
was
him a
not gonna
wake-up
make that
call.
dive.
Yeah. It's like Brock Lesnar after a shooting star, he never did it again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Big
Shouldn't
man,
try it.
as Taker said, should not be doing that shit.
Yeah. Unless you're, I guess, Keith Lee and Brian Cage on Collision.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
And
match.
sometimes Ivar does some shit, but
Ivar, yeah.
okay, so the Continental Classic continued. You mentioned Mark Briscoe versus Jay Lethal. Lethal. Mark Briscoe ended up winning, which I feel like this is like his first win in the tournament. Him and Jay
It is.
Lethal have been losing a bunch.
Yeah. Which I don't know if you see. I think you've seen them, but like AEW posts on their socials, like their promos afterwards, like backstage. Those
Uh-huh.
promos should be aired on TV. Like those are so good. Like Mark Briscoe did one after this, and I thought that was really good.
Oh yeah, where it's just like after the match, like
Yeah,
he's
they're
like
like in
walking.
the backstage area or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
We had Samoa Joe and MJF segment out in the ring. MJF and Samoa Joe, they are partners, but they'll also be wrestling at World's End against one another.
Okay.
So they were throwing accusations at one another in a promo. When the devil would show up on the screen, and the minions, I believe, would surround the ring.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, a cryptic message aired asking MJF if he would defend the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships with Joe next week. I guess that's going to be on. Is this Winter is Coming?
They had Winters come in.
They did. Okay.
A week or two ago, but yeah, this is just before the pay-per-view, so
MJF agreed and Joe doubled down on it. So that'll be happening. Yeah. If they don't reveal this devil soon,
it has to be World's End. Like, it has to be
over it, dude.
Yeah, like, it's getting to the point I'm like, all right.
Jungle Boy, that's who I'm putting my money on. Unfortunately.
Oh, God. Just make it Adam Cole and get over with. Adam Cole should be ready by then, right?
Should be. You would think.
End of year.
We had I thought it was a pretty good backstage confrontation with Swerve and MJF.
This is one of the favorite parts of the show.
MJF confronted him. There was a tense exchange of words between the two. MJF claims Swerve isn't on his level, and Swerve responded saying, "While you were failing tryouts, I was signing contracts." And then MJF would question Swerve Strickland if he was the devil, and I believe Samoa Joe would end up popping up from behind.
Which it was kind of nice because Swerve in this segment didn't look out of place at all, so he's definitely like a main event person now, I think.
The reaction from his match earlier was on the main event level too. It's all matters. Does Tony cash in?
Yeah, I mean, he had Swerve at the Jaguars game. They put his name up and they played his song and all that.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I don't know.
But the main event was Jay White against Jon Moxley, Continental Classic, Gold League, and Moxley doesn't lose a lot, but it was a good match. Jay White would end up winning. Because of this, though, it's a tie. It's a 3-way tie between Swerve, Moxley, and Jay White. Swerve would end up coming out and standing at the top of the ramp to close the show while the other two are in the ring. And I think Jay White took out Moxley's leg.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah, when he was looking at Swerve, yeah.
But that wrapped up Dynamite. Anything to add, Jeremy?
No, just that's going to be a good match next week, so I'm glad we're at this point of the tournament now rather than the beginning part.
Yes. All right. Smackdown. Smackdown opened up with AJ Styles in the ring.
Beefed AJ Styles.
Beefed AJ, beefed Randy. Yeah. So, I mean, AJ cut a promo, then LA Knight would come out, Randy would come out, all basically saying why they should be next for Roman Reigns. That was the gist of it.
I always like these kind of segments when they open a show like this.
So AJ's wearing all black. He, he's definitely not babyface.
Is he emo AJ?
I don't know. Me and Tim talk about it. I want them to bring back the Evil Ways song for this version of AJ. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But during the segment, Nick Aldis. So I said at the beginning of the show, this SmackDown was pre-taped because of the holiday season.
Yeah.
Nick Aldis would come out. And I would assume this is the main event match for SmackDown New Year's Revolution.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a 3-way match. I don't always look forward to television matches, but this could be a pay-per-view match. It's going to be 3-way, AJ versus Randy versus LA Knight. Winner faces Roman Reigns at the Rumble.
And Randy should win.
How do you do this match without hurting whoever gets pinned?
Well, I think, I feel like it's going to be LA Knight who gets pinned because Randy probably will win. But they're not going to pin AJ because he's just back right now. Or maybe he does because he's getting he doesn't want to be in the club anymore, right? He gets annoyed with them.
Yeah. This is what I think is I feel like we're going to get like AJ versus LA Knight at one of the pay-per-views between now and Mania. That'd
be a good one.
I'd like to see him. I mean, I want both guys to be on the card at Mania.
Oh, yeah. LA Knight has to be on the card.
Who do I root for?
I mean, and that, I don't know. I feel like LA Knight.
Fuck. I know Tim would probably say AJ too.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that match. We had Dragon Lee's been, I think, on like every SmackDown wrestling. Fans are really starting to like him. I guess I should say because we don't cover it. Yeah, we don't cover NXT, so Dragon Lee, I don't know if I mentioned it recent episode or not, because I can't remember what he won it, but he beat Dominic for the North American title, and so he was defending it against Butch, and he would end up retaining it. But I've noticed that Butch, they took him away from Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland is now back in NXT, if you didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to go after the title against Ilya Dragunov. So that means Butch is on his own. I'm hoping they start. I mean, he slowly seems, his mannerisms, his backstage promos, everything just seems like he's just being himself again. Slowly going back to Pete Dunne. Slowly going back to Pete Dunne. I hope it's one of those things like what they did with LA Knight. And he's like, nah, I'm not Max Dupree. He's like, I'm LA Knight. I hope he's like, he's like, Butch is dead. Like, I'm Pete Dunne.
Nice.
I'm the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne.
Bruiserweight,
Because, before Gunther, Pete Dunne was the longest reigning NXT UK champion. That was one of Triple H's guys.
Yeah, it was,
And then
Gunther, Pete Dunne, especially in NXT itself, he was he a North American champion?
I don't know if he actually ever won a title.
I thought he had a title, because I remember he holds it in his mouth when he walks out, which is kind of cool. Like, the look of it.
Maybe it could have been the tag.
Yeah. Or maybe it could have been the UK. That's one.
And he definitely won the Dusty Classic one year.
Yeah, he did.
With someone. So I'm excited to see, slowly, weekly, him getting back to that.
Yeah.
Because Sheamus has been out, so the Brawling Brutes are gone.
Yeah,
like I said, Ridge is in Ridge the Fridge is in NXT. And Butch is by himself, and I guess Sheamus is hurt. I think I read.
Yeah, he's hurt, I think he should be back maybe for WrestleMania, but I don't
know. So earlier in the night, though, Roman asked Paul Heyman to get Nick Aldis because Roman's been gone, and Roman hasn't officially met Nick. So we get a little segment backstage. Roman Reigns meeting Nick Aldis for the first time, and warns him that everything goes through him. So the next time Aldis wants to announce a match, talking about the three-way, he should run it by the tribal chief first. And Aldis basically blows him off and suggests that Solo Sikoa took care of John Cena in a way that even Roman didn't. And they had a good back and forth, but basically what I got out of it is Nick Aldis is pretty much telling Roman Reigns, like, I'm not Adam Pearce. This is my show. It'd be cool one day for Nick Aldis to face Roman in a match.
I think they're gonna build to that because at least the WWE audience doesn't know Nick Aldis really at all, or that he wrestles.
I feel like the casuals don't even know that he wrestles.
Yeah, so they have to make him
NWA champion for a while, recently. He's faced Cody, beat Cody. Cody beat him, then he beat Cody back for that title.
Yeah, so I think they have to establish him as a character, as an authority character, at least in this case, and then he can wrestle.
It's a good way if he doesn't or didn't want to get lost in the shuffle of all the superstars. Just debuting one day and then never be.
Yeah, he literally would just be another wrestler if he was just wrestling instead of an authority figure.
Because he's young, so I hope one day he's just like, you know what, this isn't me. Takes off the suit. He's a big guy.
Yeah, he's huge.
I was seeing him next to Roman. I was like, Roman's a big guy, and it's like these two are just.
His shoulders are massive too.
Yes, sir. SmackDown has its own tournament going on. I forgot this U.S. title tournament.
Yes.
Kevin Owens would defeat Carmelo Hayes to move on to the finals. Again, Carmelo has been on TV lately for this tournament. For the people that didn't know him, it gets them to know him, but he's been a staple of NXT for a little bit now. We had the Karrion Kross video package, and do you remember on TikTok and stuff, people were like, Karrion Kross put the hourglass in front of Roman, saying the bloodline's gonna crumble, and he took away Rey Mysterio's patience and Drew's this and Shinsuke's honor. They actually cashed in on that and made it a thing in the video, Karrion Kross saying, I did this.
But
I did
that's
this.
also like the coolest thing about Karrion Kross. As soon as he's like actually in the ring or anything, I don't care about it at all.
Like these packages are cool.
Yeah.
Part of it is that he was talking about a story being written and it needs authors. There was a quick flash. If you pause it, you see Paul Elrig and Authors of Pain. And they've been signed back for a while now, waiting to bring him back. So apparently, WWE's turning to AEW. Everyone needs a faction, and so I guess he'll be with Authors of Pain, or at least that's how they're making it seem like they're going to book him. But
maybe it might work better for Karrion Kross. I don't know. It wasn't working with him on his own.
Make him like a little like cult leader kind of. Not like cult, like Bray Wyatt cult, or who are the guys from Ring of Honor? The Way, or not the Way. The Way was Johnny Gargano.
I forget who they're called.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
They wear the white.
Snaps all the time when it comes out.
They wear the white. Yeah.
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 I like them a lot, actually.
Which I haven't seen them. I feel like in a little bit on TV.
Yeah, I wish they would be back on AEW.
Back to the tournament though. Santos Escobar surprisingly defeated Bobby Lashley, and I think he did with a roll up.
Yeah.
But he did with help from a returning tag team, Los Lotharios, who had been sent down to NXT. But they didn't do anything down there really. But it's cousins Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza. So they came out, and I guess now they're going to be paired. They've been heels recently, so they'll be paired with heel Santos Escobar. So he moves on to the finals. So the finals now, to face Logan Paul. I think we called it a while ago. It's going to be Kevin Owens at the Rumble. Yeah. Kevin Owens versus Santos Escobar. Winner faces Logan Paul for the U.S. title.
Not going to be Escobar. That'd be a boring match, I think.
And then the main event was AJ Styles. I want to say his first match back.
I think, definitely,
defeating Solo Sikoa, but it was via disqualification. Afterwards, Roman attacks. AJ ends up, fighting back a little bit. LA Knight then comes out. Randy then comes out. Everyone wants a piece of Roman and Solo, and Jimmy's out there. The ring gets cleared. The Bloodline's out of the ring. Randy, AJ, and LA Knight are still in the ring. And then a fight breaks out as the show goes off the air.
Yeah, was it like AJ starts being on LA Knight or something? Yeah.
Or did LA Knight attack AJ?
No, AJ attacked LA Knight.
Okay. Because I know AJ attacked him when he first returned.
Yeah.
In the ring, clotheslined him, but yeah.
Or no, you're right. LA Knight did.
This time around?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that wrapped up SmackDown. And then anything to add? We'll quickly get I don't think there was anything on Rampage because I didn't write anything down.
No, I think I'm actually just looking forward to all of these shows next week, actually. Like all of them.
I don't know if it was this week or last week, but I'll say it anyway. Was it Kevin Von Erich's kids wrestled on Rampage?
Yeah.
While they were promoting Iron Claw.
Wasn't it during they had like a battle royal or something like that, right? Or was that
I don't know.
Thing? That was when
they showed them on Dynamite, and then
came out.
The Rampage afterwards. Oh, I mean they came out afterwards, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say Kevin. Like I know the Von Erichs. There's only one left, and I would hate to say the one that isn't. Yeah, okay, it's Kevin.
Yeah.
Who I believe is Zac Efron's character. Yeah.
We gotta see the movie soon.
Dude, you're telling me. I mean, I'm hearing mixed reviews. Like, someone came in and told Tim that he knew someone that saw the movie and he's a wrestling fan and he hated it.
Yeah.
But then, then you go to Rotten Tomatoes, and I usually don't really follow good. I don't follow critics score, but I follow audience score, and the critics is 87, the audience is 92.
Yeah.
Except for we don't even talk about the Ric Flair actor.
I saw that clip and I sent it to you guys. I was like, I don't know about this guy.
I told Tim, I showed him, and I said, hey, I don't mind the look. The look is fine. It's the
look is fine.
Me.
Yeah. Everything else
is about it, but
bad.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, I saw one person
I was like,
say
the guy that played Flair on. I watched every episode of Young Rock. The guy that played Flair on that was better.
yeah. I saw someone say like they were so immersed into the movie until that Ric Flair showed up, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
I did see like instead of like other wrestling movies, like I'm pretty sure during this movie you see an entire match start to finish.
That's crazy.
Like it's like probably like a good 10 minutes or so of the movie. You're just
watching a wrestling match.
For a non-wrestling fan, that's probably like, what the? Like, I don't understand anything.
You're like, when is the scene gonna be over?
Yeah. That's what I heard. I haven't seen the movie, but that's what I read.
Yeah, we gotta see it.
So let's get into Collision. Continental Classic continued. But this time Collision's always been the Blue League, is what I noticed, and then Dynamite's been the Gold League. So this is all Blue League stuff when I talk about it. Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli ends in a draw.
You knew one of them had to end in a draw at some point.
Yeah. So I think a draw each gets 1 point.
Yeah, they get 1 point. Win gets you 3. Draw gets you 1.
Loss gets you nothing.
Yeah.
Keith Lee would end up coming out shortly after the match, and or he would have a match, and at the end he gets on the microphone. Basically alluding to that he still hasn't forgotten about. It's what Swerve did to him, right? He brings out the cinder block.
The cinder block, yeah. That's what he had that match with Brian Cage before this when they were doing like hurricanranas and everything, and they're like 400 pounds.
Yeah.
And then that's when Brian Cage brought up the cinder block, and then Keith Lee beat him.
And he says, he never says Swerve's name, but he says, he's gonna break down his house or destroy his house.
Yeah. He says he's gonna see him on Wednesday too. So I'm thinking maybe Swerve doesn't win that 3-way because of Keith Lee. I think Jay White actually wins the whole thing.
I think it comes down to Jay White and Danielson.
Yeah, I think so. But then Jay White wins.
Yeah. You think Jay White won? I feel like the whole tournament was made for Danielson, but
I think it was made for Danielson to just compete in because he wanted to do something like this.
I want to wrestle everyone before I retire. I want to wrestle everyone that I haven't wrestled. I only got a year left.
He's like, I got one eye left. He's like, I'm good to go.
Oh God. Yeah, that's what I think it gets down to.
Yeah, I think so.
So the Christian Cage segment, if I'm not mistaken,
he moved on to moms now.
Still hilarious. Let me see, where is this at in the show? It was after Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, it was after Keith Lee.
Yeah, after Keith Lee.
And he had Nick Wayne.
It was before Brody King, Daniel Garcia. So
yeah.
Christian Cage would come to the ring with Nick Wayne. No kill switch with him. I got to get used to saying that if they're still calling him that.
Yeah.
But he brought out Shayna Wayne to explain her actions, and she actually didn't. It wasn't the greatest promo, but she didn't butcher.
Yeah, she wasn't horrible at it. I was expecting it to be bad.
Yeah, me too. The crowd booed her, and she responded by saying what we basically says that Adam Copeland, of what he concertoed Nick Wayne. Right, she said, "What kind of mother would I be if I didn't do that and defend her son like that?"
She was good here. I know I missed it, but like when Edge and Christian had their match, and she came out at the end, like she could have made it more obvious that she was going to hit Edge in the face.
Yeah, we talked. Yeah, I remember you brought that up. It's like you could have teased it a little bit.
Yeah, like that way she was horrible, but like talking this, I was like, that's not bad. Yeah,
it was fine. It was better than John Cena's dad.
John Cena's dad was just happy to be there.
Yeah. But Christian, yeah, like you said, Christian implied that he hooked up with Nick Wayne's mom. I guess that night after hitting Adam Copeland.
He's like, I scored, and he's like winning, and also
scored
another
win. Yeah.
And then he looks at her. He's like, oh God.
And then Nick Wayne's just like straight faced. Yeah, he was just standing there smiling. But the takeaway from this segment at the end is that Christian did accept Edge's or Adam Copeland's fight no DQ match at World's End.
Yep.
Daniel Garcia defeated Brody King, surprisingly, in the Continental Classic. Fans are behind Daniel Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Khan better pull the trigger on him.
This is like the third time that fans are behind him again.
It might be the last if Tony Khan doesn't do something with him soon, but they were really happy that he beat Brody King.
Yeah, that pop when he pinned him, I was like, whoa, I didn't see that one coming.
Thunder Rosa, we didn't talk about it. So she had returned to TV the week before, and she had her first match back, but it was in a tag match with Abaddon, who she's been on TV like a lot recently, and the fans are like starting to actually cheer for her when she comes out.
Yeah,
before it was very like nothing.
Sporadic and everything, and then all of a sudden she gets this push, and I was like,
she's like a crazier Nikki Cross.
Yeah, I kind of like the face paint and everything, but like it's like just a keeper on TV then.
Yeah. So people are starting to like her, but Thunder Rosa teamed up with her against Sky Blue, who I guess we can say, I don't know if she's joined the House of Black, but she's been friendly with Julia Hart lately.
She's wearing black
so they
now.
teamed up. And I believe Thunder Rosa and Abaddon, they ended up defeating the TBS champion and Sky Blue. I don't remember who took the pin, but I know Thunder Rosa is the one that won.
Oh,
well, Abaddon was with Thunder Rosa. I'm assuming that she pinned Sky Blue because that would have hurt the champion. And then the final match was finally, again, this might be another guy that has finally got a win. That's Eddie Kingston defeated Andrade.
Well, he won, so that means he's in the final against Danielson.
Eddie did?
Yeah.
Even though Eddie had like way less points than Andrade. I thought Andrade and Brody King were like at the top of the Blue League.
Eddie had
like Danielson.
Eddie had I think 6. Andrade had 7 going into the match.
Let me see here.
So then Eddie, because they did a stare down at the end with Danielson, and actually Eddie cut a promo after it went off the air.
Oh, okay.
Which then he was like, it's another person called.
I mean, Danielson came out at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Kingston picked up the win to advance to the finals. Yeah. So it's going to be Danielson versus Eddie, right?
Yep.
To see who wins the blue, and then it's going to be the 3-way.
For the gold. That's all on Dynamite, too.
Okay.
And, Eddie cut a promo after it went off the air, and he basically, like Danielson was also another person called Eddie a bum, like Punk did. So Eddie kind of went off on him.
I guess Collision this week they'll do that Friday thing, too.
Yeah, where they just go before Rampage, right? Against
Smackdown. I guess it goes head-to-head against Smackdown.
Which they lose so bad every time.
But that wraps up the shows. I want to just do quickly World's End predictions, and then I don't got a classic show of the week, guys. I didn't prepare for it. Sorry. That's Tim's thing. I'll let it be Tim's thing.
We'll get it next week. We'll have 2 next week.
So, this is what I was able to find online as of now, or as of when I wrote it.
Yeah.
So, I'm just going to go. I don't know the order of the matches. I just do know. I assume MJF and Samoa will close out the show. So,
yeah.
FTW Championship. Hook versus Wheeler Yuta in an FTW rules match.
I mean, I would say still Hook. No one else really should have this title. I feel like
I'm going Wheeler.
Really?
Yeah, and then it gives him something to do.
That's true.
Like keep the feud going or some shit.
Yeah, because Hook also doesn't have anything to do after this too.
Julia Hart versus Abaddon. I'm going Julia.
Yeah, Julia Hart.
I don't think you take it off of her yet.
Yeah.
Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland.
This one's actually
champion.
Tough.
Yeah, I know. TNT Championship.
Yeah. This might be the one I'm, other than probably the AEW title match, this is probably one I'm looking forward to the most. I don't know. I would say Adam Copeland. I don't know. It's like tough to say that because then Christian, what does he have after that? Like it feels like he's starting something new that he shouldn't lose the title then. No, I'm actually going Christian. Never mind.
You're going Christian?
Yeah.
I'll be different. I'll do Adam Copeland. Right. I feel like it's like 50-50, so I'll just pick.
Yeah.
All right. Ricky Starks and Big Bill versus Chris Jericho and whoever.
TBD. I mean, Ricky Starks and Big Bill. I don't see them losing the titles
Now, if Kenny
anyways.
was there, would
You
that
think
have
they
been?
would?
Do you think they would have pulled the trigger on it?
I don't think so. I think,
No.
yeah, I think that was just like a way to have a match.
Do you think they're liking what they're doing with Big Bill and Ricky?
I think so. I mean,
I'm starting to like Big Bill more.
I was gonna say they're actually starting to kind of gel, and like Big Bill's actually kind of like funny in the backstage promos now.
It reminds me of just because of how they're paired up. You know, it's like Kevin Nash, Shawn Michaels, big guy, smaller
and they're
guy.
like all of a sudden paired together. Now they have to make it work.
Tony Storm versus Riho.
I mean, Tony Storm, because they're not taking that title off of her anytime soon.
Now, do you think that, what's her name, Maria May gets involved?
Yeah, because
She finally got her wrestling license in the U.S., she said, during TV.
She's been in those promos with Tony Storm, too.
She's like a Mickey James Craze fan. Is what it's the vibe I get. Well, that's the vibe I get it. Like, she's always in the promos and
she's like
trying to talk to Tony, and Tony's just like waving her off. And
I feel like that could be next, because I don't feel like Riho is actually going to have a chance to win.
It just feels like Riho is
she's there
because they have no one else. You know what I was thinking of? And I was like, oh yeah, Jamie Hayter. She's been injured.
Is she going to be back?
I assume.
It has to be soon.
But I was like, oh, that's who. Like, I'm like, who is like besides Britt Baker? I was like, who has not been around?
She could come out after the match or something. You know, like one of those that starts the next
good.
feud. Yeah,
because
I would like that.
God, I forget what happened. She got hurt, and she didn't end up wrestling at Wembley, right?
Right, yeah, because she had to relinquish the title.
Yeah, and Sheeta ended up winning it, and then they took off Sheeta to Saraya, and then.
So technically, she never lost it. She's the real women's champion.
Tell that same story with Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, that's true.
She
you could
relinquished it.
There'll be three women.
And then everyone starts hating Thunder Rosa backstage again. All right, Continental Classic finale. So you're gonna have to pick you're saying Jay White versus Danielson is what it comes down to?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, then who wins that?
Jay White.
God, I hope Jay White wins. I'm going with
I honestly think it's like because he lost to MJF in that stupid way at that last pay-per-view.
Yeah.
To build him back up.
I felt like that hurt him. But beating like Moxley and stuff.
And then having like he has to have a really good match against Danielson too to then like, put him back in there.
I feel like that could be a really good match.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good match. And it should be like a 30-minute one too. So
do you think Swerve takes the pin because of like Keith Lee?
Yeah, and then they could actually add that to the pay-per-view then.
Swerve versus Keith Lee again.
Yeah. And then Swerve wins.
Please. Don't Keith Lee's like don't ruin Swerve, man.
Yeah.
All right, main event. MJF, Samoa Joe. How does the devil fit into this? They're saying MJF's still hurt and stuff. But do you
like his shoulder, right? Is really hurt.
I don't know.
And there's also
something with his knee or
hip. I think it was his hip because he did that stupid dive after the table broke.
Yeah, I thought it was the hip. And they started crying and
he started crying. I mean, I think MJF still, because that's like the storyline with the devil. So MJF wins, but like the devil has to.
Do you think the devil costs Samoa Joe?
Yeah, I think I think it's the devil wants MJF to be the champion because whoever it is going to face him and wants to face him.
Do you think, because if MJF and Samoa Joe wrestle and they still have the ROH titles afterwards, doesn't really work. So do you think they lose the titles this Wednesday?
It's tough though because they're facing like masked men. Like they're gonna give the titles to the people who like it's the devil's men.
It's just like Marco Stunt and Luchasaurus.
Just a tiny one. I don't know. Like, I mean, MJF is gonna win. I think it's also on Long Island. That's his hometown.
Yeah, I mean, I still say MJF keeps the title in the end. I just
the Devil has to
either if they don't pull the trigger on the Devil now, I then all of a sudden I'm I don't care anymore.
Yeah, it's if they don't reveal him, the Devil then has to be there and do something that's almost obvious that you know who it is.
I don't even remember Jungle Boy's finisher if it is Jungle Boy.
Yeah, does he have one? He has a stupid submission.
I mean, I'd be fine with the Devil being like Dolph. I don't even care.
Yeah, at this point, you're just pick someone.
Someone, man.
I think it's Adam Cole. I feel like Adam Cole will do something that you're like, oh, this is Adam Cole then.
But then who's the henchman? Does he bring back Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish?
Kyle O'Reilly is ready to come back. Bobby Fish is never coming back.
And Roderick Strong's been doing his one thing, so.
I remember Bobby Fish trying to get back in WWE and texted Triple H.
Yeah, Bobby Fish is weird. And then all the videos of him on the indies. It's just
yeah.
Dude, you're old. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, MJF still is champion, I think.
Okay, well, if that is the only 7 match, it's
8 with Swerve and Keith Lee then.
Oh yeah. But for now, if that's all there is, it's not a bad card. We'll see how the matches play out. But that's all I got. So
yeah,
like Tim normally has a classic show of the week. I do not. But like I said in the beginning, follow us on all social media at the PW Fan. And until next week, when I think we'll all be back together.
We'll all be back.
This was episode 111, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we should all be back together. Check us out next week for episode 112. Bye-bye, everyone.